Dean, 12 points in the last 6 games, 3 games to go. They're all tough, starting with Queen's Park Rangers, who are still chasing the playoffs. And although Stoke had a good win at Queen's Park Rangers, it'll be a tough game.
Hi, Ange. Yeah, I think so. I think they're a team. I think they're a very good team. I think they've got players in attacking areas who are very dangerous on the day. They've got good options in the forward line in terms of experienced strikers in Dykes and Austin, Andre Gray. And they've come off the gas a little bit in terms of the last 12, 13 games. They've not picked up the form that they had going into that, similar to Blackburn, actually, last week's opponents. Having said that, there's still, as you say, 3 points within the playoffs. It shows you the form that they had prior to this last run of games that they've been in. And that's why they're dangerous, because, they picked up a draw and a win in the last 2 games, having had a really bad run before that. So maybe they're coming here with a little bit more form and a bit more belief. As I say, I think they're a really good team, the style of play that they use. But for us, it's always the same. We know that they've got threats, and it's making sure our players are aware of where them threats are coming from and dealing with them on the day, but equally knowing where their vulnerabilities lie and making sure that we get the balance right with that. And we've done that in the previous couple of away games at West Brom and Blackburn in really strong performances. And now it's really a case of showing our home supporters that similar type of performance. That's something that we've done this season, but probably not enough at home.
Stoke, as you say, have found it okay in the away games. They found it hard to break down teams who sit behind the ball, but Queen's Park Rangers don't sit behind the ball, so it should be a chance for Stoke to show their worth to the home fans. Yeah,
I think if you look at the opposition that we've got in front of us tomorrow, I think you look at the style of play that they use, and as I say there, they've got players on the counter-attack who could be really dangerous. A lot of the stats tell you that they're one of the best teams in the division in terms of counter-attacking, and that could be said defensively as well. So, as I say, the main thing is the players are aware of what game that is in front of them, but focusing on the way that we move the ball that we did at Blackburn, if I'm using that as the most recent example. Sometimes teams play against us differently than they've done in previous games, so it's about the players on the day spotting the solution, spotting the problems and finding the solution to that, both in terms of with the ball, where's the space to play, how can we hurt the opposition when we regain it as well, and obviously when they've got the ball, making sure that we take care of their threats. As I say, they're a team that's blessed with real experience in terms of them strikers. So they've lost a big player, I think, in Rob Dickey. They've had to change the system. They've gone to a back 4 in the last 3 games, having played a back 3 for all season. So he's a big player for them, and I think Barbet's been in and out, who again gives them natural balance on that left hand side. So we'll see what type of team they turn up with, and we'll be ready and prepared for them.
By all accounts, they won ugly against Derby and kept a clean sheet, but hopefully you'll be able to change that tomorrow and bang a few goals in.
Yeah, of course, that's always the aim. We want to finish the season as high up the league as we possibly can. I think if you look at the goal last week that you're talking to there, it was an opportunity for Derby, both teams trying to win the game at the end for obvious reasons, and Derby have gone up the pitch, nearly got in to score, which would have probably gave them a little bit more of a lifeline, and then QPR regained the ball, and 2 passes later QPR have scored. So I think that's the game that QPR play. They're a very, very expansive team. They've moved the ball around quick, and as I say, they're blessed with some good forward players. But for us, it's making sure, as I say, that we give our supporters in these final few games something to be hopeful about in terms of next season as well.
Well, let's have a look at the injury update, starting with the boss. How is he?
You'll be disappointed that wasn't your first question, Ange, actually. Just spoke to him, just come off the phone to him there. I've been in regular contact with him. Came home from hospital yesterday. He's back home now, resting, and he's not made a decision yet on whether he's going to be at the game tomorrow. But seemingly the operation was a success. He's up and about in his crutches, so that's the main thing. Obviously, it was a successful operation for him. He's been in a lot of pain, I have to say. So hopefully he'll be with us sooner rather than later.
Well, pass on my best wishes, and I'm sure I speak for all the Stoke fans when I say it'd be quite nice for him to get back soon. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to see you, Dean. I'm in a difficult situation there, whatever I say, but that's good. Any injuries with the players?
And you don't get too many splinters sitting on the Thank you. I'll pass that on, of course I will. Yeah, Nick Powell's nearing fitness now, not quite ready for tomorrow. Jordan Thompson's obviously still out, as is Harry Souttar. So it'll be pretty much as was from last weekend's game, last week's game at Blackburn.
How difficult has it been for you? Loan signings are always a problem in terms of if they get injured, then you don't know how long they're going to be out, and it spoils the loan. But you've had a bit of trouble with Jaden Philogene-Badace and Seema. How disappointing has that been for you personally? It'll obviously be disappointing for the players.
Yeah, I think so. I think they both came here with big reputations in terms of, obviously Seema's played more senior football abroad and done well at times, and obviously Jaden's a really exciting young player. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that they've probably not been as successful as we would have liked for different reasons. So for them to go on and have a successful career, they have to look at this experience as well, and what they've gained from it. And they will have gained lots of experience irrespective of how much game time they've had. You know, living away in a different part of the country and dealing with different, particularly I think for Seema, dealing with different cultures coming to a new country. And obviously he's got the, you know, to go back to Brighton and make sure that he makes a go of it, you know, back there for Jaden. He's picked up niggly injuries. He's not been able to get on the pitch as much as we would have liked. And a similar challenge in that, in terms of, you know, don't forget we've still got 3 games to go. But in terms of the wider picture, yeah, for them it's not an experience I don't think they would have enjoyed. But at the same time, I think they'll look back on it in the future and think that probably was a beneficial experience, let's say, in terms of what to expect for the rest of the career. It's never a bad thing for particularly a young player to have to deal with a little bit of adversity. I think to come through that and show what you're made of is always the key to whether you can go and really make it at, you know, at the top level. So that's the challenge for them to.
Clearly, you'll have reflected on the disappointing performance against Bristol City at home. What do you want to see change in this home game, apart from obviously the losing of a late goal?
We're looking for a 96-minute performance, effectively. I think we've shown signs this season. It's not a case of sitting here and putting it all in, and everybody wants to pigeonhole certain things. Of course, you look at the season as a whole, where we are. None of us are happy about that, obviously. I think we've certainly got to look at the ins and outs of every bit of the season, and it's not to say that we've not performed at home all season. Like, of course, we have West Brom at home springs to mind, was one of the, I think back to the Barnsley game, how we never won that, and we could sit here at Cardiff and we could go on and on. There's no point in doing that. We've got to learn the lessons, and we've not performed consistently enough in 90 minutes at home to get the result. I think that's pretty clear. So we've managed to do that in recent weeks away, as I've just said, in the most recent away games. And that's now the challenge to do that at home, in front of an expectant home support who've proved they will get behind the team. But we've got to make sure that we give them something to shout about as well. So, you know, it's very much on us. We're very much looking inside and thinking, how can we make this better? And it starts tomorrow with the next home game. Of course, we've got 2 home games out of 3. So that's the challenge, one we look forward to.
I mean, obviously, you want to finish as high as you can in the league. Is it crucial when you're heading into the summer, and although you'll be talking to players already and know in your own minds who you want to keep and who is going to go, it's really important that the players show a winning mentality, which we've lacked in 1 or 2 of the games, or we haven't shown it as you would hope. But as regards pushing forward, how important is a good finish to show the club is moving forward and trying to get to where you and the management team want it to be?
Yeah, absolutely. That's our aim, is to finish as high up as we can. It's not going to be as high as anybody would have hoped, obviously, but that's the position we're in. We've still got a 3-game challenge in front of us, and we'll deal with that. Beyond that, the question in terms of the recruitment coming in and stuff, I think players will look at this football club and see it as a really attractive club in terms of the size, in terms of the history, the fan base, the obvious facilities at the training ground and at the stadium. But they need to see, as you say, a management team and a group of players who is gearing towards success and is ambitious. And there's plenty of big clubs in this division next season. There's plenty of big clubs in the Championship who would all say that they've either been in the Premier League or would, some of them might say, deserve to be. You deserve to be where you are, and we're in the Championship right now, and we've got to fix that. So we've got plans in place. We've, as I say, we're in a position now when once we get these next few games out of the way, we will continue reflecting on where we need to improve. And the manager and myself and the rest of the coaching staff are as ambitious as ever to take this club forward. And we've got to make sure we've got a group of players come the start of next season that are just as ambitious and ready to take the club forward. There's lots of pressures around getting a promotion. It's not easy to do, and everything's got to fall into place for it to happen. And we know what we need to do to make that happen. So easier said than done, as I say. But you know, as frustrated as we are this season, we're hugely excited around what we can do next season as well.
You've talked about being frustrated, and there'll be nobody more frustrated than you. The fans are always frustrated when they don't win, but they're not in a position to do anything about it. There's a saying that you learn more when you lose than when you win, and clearly that you're going to work on what you've learned. But there's still the FFP problem in position. How frustrating is that when you've got really rich owners who would throw money at it again and again, but can't? You must be really frustrated given that you're going to have to look in a much smaller pool than Stoke City have done in the past for players.
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that. I think this club has tried to do that previously, prior to Michael coming into the club. They've spent huge amounts of money, and it's not brought the success that they would have expected. It's not always the way to do it. We've seen that time and time again. The key thing is to get, obviously you want to get as much quality in terms of technical footballers, players that have got the capabilities that you want in your team. You've also got to get that strength of character and that belief and that us against the world mentality, where you know that you're going to go through a few periods of the season. It's not always going to be perfect, but you'll come out of it. You'll go on another run, and you've got the crowd behind you, and it's really quite powerful when you can make that happen. And that's obviously our aim for next season. So the other side to it is how frustrated out. Excuse me, that's my alarm going off. How frustrated, of course, if you ask me directly, can't really do anything about it. We have to deal with what's in front of us. We could sit here and get upset about all kinds of things going on. Can't do anything about it. So our focus is on what can we achieve with what we've got. It's really simple as that.
And finally, there's talk of Frankie Fielding going to Luton. Do you know any more about that? Is he off to Luton to try and help them?
No, that won't happen, Ange. No,